yo, even I only got a GED, I'm a sociologist. Hey yo, Corey Red, last of a raw breed. The Lord desires those who worship him willingly. He never force feed. I swing swords like guillotines. Better yet, my words are like two sticks in the hands of a Philippine. And I don't even care if you feeling me. I'm secure in my identity. Dwell with God Almighty throughout infinity. I was a thief like Alibaba. Walk the streets with the mind of Christ deeper than a Shaolin monk or Tibetan Lama. Flow from the heart, war with the dark. Churches label me heretic, wanna burn me alive like Joan of Arc. I'm at war with religion. It causes division through the blood of Christ. All unforgiven. Without it, all in prison. Fishing for souls, my flows are like invisible gases inside of coal mines, which eventually blows. I'm from the Bronx, nice with my hands, but I'd rather walk away from a fight and suffer with Christ in the land.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. What you said on paper. Be true to what you said on paper.
People tell me you're red, you hot.
How you guys doing? Jason A. Kuhn here, giving you a Fight the Deception with Real Perception Christian News Brief for October 30th, 2013. A lot of news today. We'll jump in it right here at Telegraph.com. U.S. drones. Pakistani teenager tells U.S. how his grandmother was killed by strike. A Pakistani teenager moved a translator to tears on Capitol Hill as he spoke to the moment his grandmother was killed in a U.S. drone strike. Zabur Rahman, 13, who attended the event with his father Rafiq and his sister Nabila, age 9, described how Momina Bibi, 67, was out picking okra when a drone fired several missiles at an unknown targets near his compound. He said he first heard the drone hovering overhead but was not concerned because neither he nor his grandmother were militants. When the drones fired the first time, the whole ground shook and black smoke rose up. The air smelt poisonous. We ran. But several minutes later, the drone fired again, he said at the congressional briefing. We'll move on here to freebacon.com. DHS approves more than 80% of Dreamers who apply for legal status. The Department of Homeland Security has approved over 80% of the young illegal immigrants who have applied for its Deferred Action Program, an administrative version of the DREAM Act. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services said they have granted legal status to 474,000 of the 580,000 illegal aliens who have applied. Last June, DHS announced the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals processes, allowing young people who meet the guidelines to seek a 2-year provisional legal status to remain in the United States, wrote Maria Odom, the ombudsman for USCIS on October 24th. Wow, that's a tongue twister. We'll move on here to Infowars.com. Article written by Adam Salazar. DHS whistleblower reveals fast-tracked visas for foreign investors created national security risk. A former DHS employee has cried foul on a suspected green card for sale program in which green card applications for high-dollar foreign investors were expedited at the behest of DHS officials, potentially creating dangerous gaps in national security. The former Citizenship Service analysis, whose name has been withheld from a recent Washington Times report, says he witnessed more than 30 EB-5 visa program applications approved within an average of 4 to 3 days, a process that normally takes weeks or even months to complete. The whistleblower's statements shine light on investor visas that were speedily approved by the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS, for Green Tech Automotive, an electric car company originally chaired by Virginia gubernatorial candidate and former Clinton campaign head Terry McAuliffe. Green Tech came under Securities and Exchange Commission investigation earlier this year for allegedly soliciting foreign investors and guaranteeing returns. Let's move on here to BoilingFrogsPost.com. Article written by Sybil Edmonds. Conspiracy theorists are the greatest challenge to democracy, according to, here's who, British establishment. They're talking about BBC. British establishment mouthpiece BBC leads the way again. This time it is about the biggest threat to democracy today. No, it's not terrorists. No, it is not Islamicism. And no, it is not the Western-installed dictator regimes around the world. No, no, no. The new enemy is the conspiracy theorists. It is those who question their governments. It is those who find facts and confront the mainstream lies and liars such as the BBC. Basically, it is you and me. Allow me to wade through all the fillers and present you with a few telling excerpts from this BBC report. This is a great article written by Sybil Edmonds. If you want to read the rest of it, go to boilingfrogspost.com, or of course this will be linked into the YouTube description box. We'll move on here to democracynow.org. Shackles and Ivy, The Secret History of How Slavery Helped Build America's Elite Colleges. A new book, 10 years in the making, examines how major U.S. universities, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Dartmouth, Rutgers, Williams, and the University of North Carolina, among others, are drenched in the sweat and sometimes the blood of Africans brought to the United States as slaves. In Ebony and Ivy, Race, Slavery, and Troubled History of America's Universities, Massachusetts Institute of Technology American History professor Greg Stephen Wilder reveals how the slave economy and high education grew up together. When you think about the colonial world, until the American Revolution, there was only one college in the South, William and Mary. The other 8 colleges were all northern schools, and they're actually located in the key states for the most part. The merchant economy, where the slave traders had come to power and rose as the financial and intellectual bankers or backers of the new culture of the colonies, Wilder says. It's a great article. You want to read the rest of that? Of course, democracynow.org, or it will be linked in the YouTube description box. Let's move on here to a sheepnomore.net. NBC predicts all Americans will receive a microchip implant in 2017 per Obamacare. Is NBC predicting RFID implanted chips in Americans in 2017, or are they the mouthpiece for the beast? If you take the RFID microchip, they can track your every move, control your money, control your food, and possibly even kill you if you do not obey. A number of states like Virginia have passed Stop the Mark of the Beast legislation in an effort to stop this. I want to go down here and play a little excerpt from NBC. This is 2 minutes long. Give it a listen.
More now of our special coverage here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes. Here now with more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question. Am I who I say I am?
Already, fingerprints and iris scans verified passenger identities at airports. Within 10 years, that technology may be even more widespread. And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist. Today's facial recognition software starts with the eyes. Then, it maps out the contours of the face and compares that against a database of millions, a database that's growing by the day. What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology, if that's what people want in 10 years' time.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use...
We'll shorten that clip. We'll go ahead and move on to the next article, which correlates with this article, with the previous article. This is at technologyreview.com. Startup gets computers to read faces, seeks purpose beyond ads. A new technology for reading emotions on faces can help companies sell candy. Now its creators hopes it can also take on bigger problems. Last year, more than 1,000 people in 4 countries sat down and watched 115 television ads, such as one featuring anthropomorphized M&M candies boogieing in a bar. All the while, webcams pointed at their faces and streamed images of their expressions to a server in Waltham, Massachusetts. In Waltham, an algorithm developed by a startup company called Effectiva performed what is known as facial coding. It tracked the panelists' raised eyebrows, furrowed brows, smirks, half-smirks, frowns, and smiles. When the face data was later merged with real sales data, it turned out that the facial measurements could be used to predict within 75% accuracy whether sales of the advertised products would increase, decrease, or stay the same after the commercials aired. By comparison, surveys of panelists' feelings about the ads could predict the product sales within 70% accuracy. Wow, let's move on here to cnet.com. Strap an iPhone to your head for a window into your mind. Wow, Google Glass too expensive or too obtrusive for you? How about strapping an iPhone to your head? That's not quite the idea behind NeuroCam, a prototype wearable technology from Japan, but it does involve placing an iPhone next to your scalp. Many people walk around with smartphones glued to their ear anyway, so radiation be damned. The rig comes with a brainwave scanner that will record what interests you. Attached to a headband, the iPhone is fitted with a prism so its camera grabs footage from your point of view. Meanwhile, the EEG scans of brain activity correlate spikes in interest with the camera footage. The tech is similar to that seen in Nikomimi, the headband cat ears from Japan that react to your brain waves. Keio University's Yasu Mitsukura helped develop the simple brainwave meter. A NeuroCam iPhone app assigns a value of 1 to 100 for the EEG data and the footage, and when it's over 60, the camera starts recording. The footage goes into an album of 5-second GIFs, so you'll be able to remember what piqued your interest. Wow. Let's move on here to secretsofthefed.com. The artificial womb is born. Welcome to the world of the Matrix. Wow, here's a little quote from Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. One by one, the eggs were transformed from their test tubes to the larger containers. Deftly, the peritoneal lining was slit. The Morolla dropped into place, the saline solution poured, and already the bottle had passed on through an opening in the wall, slowly on into the social predestination room. Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. The artificial womb exists. In Tokyo, researchers have developed a technique called EUFI, extrauterine fetal incubation. They have taken goat fetuses, threaded catheters through the large vessels in the umbilical cord, and supplied the fetuses with oxygenated blood while suspending them in incubators that contain artificial amniotic fluid heated to body temperature. Yoshinori Kuwabara, chairman of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Gintindo University in Tokyo, has been working on artificial placentas for a decade. His interest grew out of his clinical experience with premature infants, and as he writes in a recent abstract, it goes without saying that the ideal situation for the immature fetus is growth within the normal environment of the maternal organism. Wow. Kuwabara and his associates have kept the goat fetuses in this environment for as long as 3 weeks, but the doctor's team ran into problems with circulatory failure, along with many other technical difficulties. Pressed to speculate on the future, Kuwabara cautiously predicts that it should be possible to extend the length, and ultimately this can be applied to human beings. Wow, there you go. Life imitating art. Matrix comes to fruition. Let's go to the last article of the day. HollywoodReporter.com. Aftermath dares to unearth terrible secrets of Poland's lost Jews. On July 10th, 1941, half the residents of Jedwabne, a Polish village 85 miles northeast of Warsaw, murdered the other half. The mob, led by the mayor, were Catholics. Their 1,600 victims were Jewish, slaughtered over several nightmarish hours with bats, knives, rifles, and other impoverished weapons. Those who survived the massacre were then rounded up in a barn donated by a local farmer, which was then set ablaze. A plaque erected at the site blamed Nazis for this massacre, but in fact Nazis had only authorized it. Locals walked by the plaque for half a century, knowing the truth, but said nothing. That's all the articles and news I got for you today, and I don't want to leave you without the quote of the day by Thomas Jefferson, the New World Order quote of the day. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issues of their money, first by inflation and then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of their property until their children will wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. Again, that is Thomas Jefferson. I don't want to leave you without the proverb of the day. Let me see here. This is Proverbs 16:3, King James only. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. That's all the news and articles I got for you today. If you want to check me out on Facebook, it's Jason A. Kuhn. Also, that's my YouTube channel, Jason A. Kuhn. You can also check out my Facebook ministry page, Romans 12:2, Transformer Ministries. And that's it for today. I'll leave you guys off the song I brought you in on by Corey Red, Sociology.
Sell your soul to the industry. Sign with a major, let them financially rape you. Throw away your dignity, it's all about the paper. You'll be on the cover of mags and TV, all over the net, radio pushing your CD. You'll be famous, millions of fans that hear you. Who cares if you betray the man in the mirror? Cause the man in the mirror is broke, that ain't cool. So go do what some industry folks say do. If I say go kill your brother, they say cool. If I say don't kill your brother, they say boo. Now what do I do in this catch-22? Please get the next style.
And I'm always happy to see a relevant ministry. A relevant ministry. I'm always happy to see a relevant ministry.
Hey yo, my brother Dr. King had a dream. Everybody was like, yeah, but not me. It was different. I had a nightmare. I seen helicopters in the air, missiles.